I have a very special reason for hijacking the first part of tonight, and that is to celebrate two very special people who have carried the Voiceworks community over the past 2 difficult years. I speak, of course, of our beloved editor, Adalya Nash Hussein, and designer, Selena Rapanis. And I'd like to invite Adalya up to the stage, please, and give her a round of applause. Yeah. So, Adalya, I've been so incredibly honoured to have worked with you over the past couple of years. The care and dedication that you've given both to Voiceworks and the community is incredibly special, given how difficult the past couple of years have been, and it's been unwavering. So can we give her another round of applause, please? And we have a little gift for you as well. So, Adalya, did you want to say a few words before you run away?
Yeah, I wrote a speech.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the moment is now.
Cool, okay. Sorry, I'll just bring it up. Cool, so thank you for that very kind and generous introduction. As my final act as editor of Voiceworks, I'm going to tell some self-indulgent stories, so I hope that's okay. So my first interaction with Voiceworks was as a reader. I had seen the magazine at school libraries before, but what led me to pick it up was a tutor telling me that I should send them or us, I'm not quite sure which pronoun to use, I should send them a piece that I had written for his class. I remember picking up a copy from readings and leafing through it, lying in a sunny patch of grass that Google Maps informs me is called University Plaza, although I remember it being known as something else, but I don't know what it was. The issue was 102 Defiance, which featured work from many writers whose names now mean something to me, although they didn't back then. Writers I've continued reading, writers I've had the opportunity to work with, writers that I now count among my friends. As I read, a girl approached me, a friend of a friend who I wanted to be my friend, and she asked what I was reading. She was a creative writing student, and I was not. I wanted to impress her, so without a shadow of modesty, I told her I was reading this magazine, Voiceworks. Had she heard of it? Because a tutor thought it would be a good place for me to publish my writing, and I wanted to see if I agreed. As embarrassingly self-assured as I was in that moment, I still would not have predicted that 6 years from then I would be recalling it in a speech celebrating my final issue as the editor of Voiceworks, and that launch would have been partly organised by that girl, Magenta Sheridan. One of my early edits of Voiceworks was on this piece that was looking at mental health and musicians, and it opened with the story of a family member who had taken their own life. The piece had lots of strong ideas and all this research and these interviews, but it hadn't quite come together and cohered into a single piece. I could see the bones coming together into something really excellent, but I also knew that there was raw emotion going into it. And to be honest, I was scared of, on the one hand, my edits being too harsh and really being distressing for the author, or being too soft and not actually giving them the space and the feedback that would help them develop the piece into the best piece that they could make it. I had also recently published a pretty personal piece with Voiceworks after sending it to other places, which I had pulled out of the editing process after finding it too distressing. So I was kind of trying to think about what did I wanted, why had I pulled out of those other processes, and why had I stuck through this last one. Because I wanted to be edited, I wanted my work to improve, but I also didn't want to cry too much. Sorry. As I was working on the first edit, I tried to start by asking questions and giving small suggestions, and the whole time I was overthinking it and imagining how wrong that I could possibly be interpreting the piece, and the angry kind of responses and upset responses that could come back if I'd pushed in an unkind direction. But when the author got back to me, every response was just beyond what I could ever have hoped or expected to receive. They took my suggestions and they didn't just accept or reject them, but had clearly really thought about them and worked out how to take them even further. Places where I'd suggested, this example is maybe not the strongest you could come up with because there's this complicating factor. They hadn't gone for an easier example. They'd worked in that complicating factor and shown why that complicating factor was relevant to the point of the piece in its entirety. Overall, the edit was this really perfect example to me about how editing can transform a piece, not in a Gordon Lish way where it's unrecognisable to the author as their own work, but in that it's a process that can allow the author to transform it themselves, giving them the space to develop their ideas and generate more thoughts and click all those little loose pieces into a whole. Here is the point where I dramatically reveal that our incoming editor, Zoe, was the author of that piece. Zoe has since then gone on to write for Meanjin, Island, Overland, the Sydney Review of Books, The Big Issue. She was awarded the 2021 Ultimo Prize and the 2018 Scribe Nonfiction Prize over me. I'm not bitter. She went on to join EdCom to help organise the Tasmanian launch and then reorganise it to be a Tasmanian-focused digital launch when we couldn't launch in person. These achievements and triumphs are obviously Zoe's, and I'm not about to stand here and say, and without that one little Voiceworks piece, she would be nothing. Because Zoe eagerly and egolessly takes every opportunity as one she can develop from. And I guess I should stop pretending I'm talking about Zoe because I'm also talking about myself, and otherwise, if it sounds like I'm just talking about Zoe, it's going to be like, what a great job I did of editing Zoe and creating her career. But there are not many places that will take your first edit, your first piece, something that's really messy and personal and hard, and will work on it both kindly and vigorously to make it authentically the best work that you are capable of, not taking it as it is and just accepting and not pushing you, because I think pushing is important. As an editor at Voiceworks, I've had the pleasure of working with some exceptionally polished authors, and we can sometimes equate polished with some idea of natural talent. But I've also had the opportunity to work with lots of messier, greener authors who, given the space to think and learn and grow, ended up having pieces far stronger, or who would end up becoming that polished, dependable, naturally talented writer over time. Reading Zoe's piece before it was edited, I didn't turn to the editor next to me and say, oh, in 4 years, this writer, she'll be running the place. And I'm sure that when the editors, when they were reading my first piece, that they didn't think that about me either. Neither of us came in with some preternatural talent, an understanding of writing and editing and literature. We came in with a tender piece, a lot of passion, and a willingness to learn. And Voiceworks gave us the space to do that, first as writers and then as editors. There's something that I kind of took for granted in that at the time, and that as I've moved through other literary spaces, I've realised is really special and unique. My time at Voiceworks has been long and weird and difficult, so I have a lot of people to thank, so I'm just going to say them now. Thank you first to all of the writers and artists who have trusted us with your work. Thank you to all of our beautiful readers, subscribers, and stockists. Thank you to all of my colleagues at Express Media, Jessie, Jess, Magenta, and formerly Lucy, who was the boss before Jessie. Thank you to our designer, Selena Refinis. Thank you to my mum. Thank you to my nan and my uncle Aidan. Thank you to my partner's parents, Annette and John. Thank you to my partner, Nick. He was really annoyed that in my editorial he didn't get some special shout out. So here's the special shout out. Shout out to Nick. Thank you to Grace and Esther. Thank you, Hasib. Thank you, Leah, Cher, and Danny. Thank you, Hassan, Manisha, and Bridget. Thank you, Greer. Thank you, James. Thank you, Joanna Newsom, Charlie Puth, Arbiter Parveen, Blink-182, ABBA, Paramore, Benjamin Britten, and others. And thank you also to the podcast hosts that I am not willing to reveal. And thank you to Mira, the former editor. My biggest thank you must go to all of the people who have worked on ACOM at this time. At our last launch, I tried to name you, and I think that the Auslan interpreter could not keep up with how many names I was spitting out, so I'm not going to do that. But thank you so much to all of those ACOMers. Getting to know you and to learn from you and to experience the love and the kindness and the care you put into the world will stay with me for the rest of my life. My education and career and life have gone through many stages of development with Voiceworks by my side, and I'm not really ready to stop learning, and I'm not really sure what that learning and growing will look like without Voiceworks. But if I could stay at Voiceworks forever, it wouldn't be Voiceworks anymore. The natural process of aging out is what allows the magazine itself to grow, taking and imbibing the passions and experience of each editor and writer and integrating it into its DNA. And that's what I love about it. And that's why you'll still catch me in a park reading it and bragging about somebody thinking that my writing should be published there. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. Woo!